Welcome to We Are Women Unapologetically, the podcast that talks about the good, bad, ugly, and awesome. Careers, life transitions, confidence, and everything in between. Because shift happens, but you don't have to do it alone.
Have you ever watched someone move up faster than you and you're not even jealous? You're just sitting there shocked. And you're sitting there thinking, wait, how did this happen? Because you're thinking, I can do that job. I have done pieces of that job. I'm already handling responsibilities that look exactly like that role. Don't worry, you're not the only one. It's happened to me too. And I didn't even hear about it directly. I heard it from someone else and I could not believe that it had actually happened. So I looked it up. Sure enough, their title had changed in the HR directory, and that is the way that I found out it was official. I remember staring at my screen thinking, okay, so what's actually being rewarded here? Because hard work and performance, they both matter. But at a certain level, performance is assumed. And that is when I realized what separates the people who stay stuck from the people who move on. Not always capability, it is advocacy. It's who is willing to speak your name in the rooms that you're not in. It's how your impact is described when you're not describing it. It's who's hearing you should be next when you are not the one saying it. So today we're going to be talking about why hard work won't get you promoted, what you can do about it. Welcome to We Are Women Unapologetically. My name is Jessica Cumming. If you've always been the one who's delivered, you were probably praised for being consistent. You did what you said you were going to do, and you handled what needed to be handled. You are the person that people trust. And for a while, that translates into opportunity. But at some point, you hit this weird wall. And the question stops being who can do the work and starts being who do we trust at the next level? And that answer, it gets shaped by proximity, relationships, and reputation. Early in your career, your effort is seen. People notice you're new, you're hustling, you're hungry. But later, your efforts, they start to blend in. They start to blend in because at that next level, capability is already assumed. That is why you're even in the conversation. But then the room starts evaluating something different. They're asking, can I trust you with the bigger scope? Can I trust you with decisions that don't come with all the perfect answers? Can I trust you to represent the team well when the visibility is high and the pressure is real? That is why advocacy matters. When someone credible says your name and connects it to outcomes, the conversation changes. It gets cleaner, it gets faster, and less emotional. Now, if you're listening and thinking, so what am I supposed to just become fake all of a sudden? Absolutely not. That's not what I'm saying. But what you are supposed to become is intentional. There is a difference between trying to be liked and making sure the right people understand your impact. And if you've ever said, I hate networking, get it. I have been there. But here's the thing is that most people, they don't even hate connection. They hate connection that feels forced, especially when they don't know what to say. So we're not going to be doing that. We are going to be doing relationships with purpose. We are going to be doing advocacy and leadership. Because here is the mindset shift that took place for me. It might just be the one sentence that you need to hear today. I stopped acting like relationships were optional and started treating them like a core part of leadership. When I was early on in my career, I genuinely believed that my work would speak for itself. I thought if I just kept my head down, kept doing a great job, the raise would come, the promotion would come. And for a while, it did. My performance opened doors and got me opportunities that weren't even technically part of my role. It took me around the world, even when travel wasn't really my job. I was a top performer multiple years in a row, and so I had evidence. My hard work was working. But here's what I didn't understand at the time. Hard work can create opportunity and still leave your timeline in someone else's hands. Because without advocacy, your growth depends on the right person noticing you at the exact right time. And that's not a strategy. Then I hit the season where I got comfortable. Loved what I was doing. I was good at it. And honestly, I didn't even really know what I wanted to do next. But the thing is that when you don't know what you want to do next, it's easy to stop building outside your area. Comfort feels safe. But comfort can slow your entire timeline without you even realizing it. And before you know it, you're in the same job, the same pay grade, and the same team for 4 years longer than you expected to be. Now, I want to be clear though, because comfort is not always a problem. Sometimes comfort is earned. Sometimes it's the leader you trust, the flexibility that makes your life work, the role that fits your strengths. But the risk comes when that comfort becomes your whole plan. Because teams change, leaders rotate, priorities shift, restructures happen. The environment moves even when you don't. So here's a quick gut check for you. If that one leader who really understands your value left tomorrow, would your next step still move forward? If that answer feels uncertain, it's not a moment to panic. It is a realization and a moment to build. It means that it's time for you to expand who knows your work and how it is described. In my last role in Dell, I had this moment where it clicked for me. My pay increase was significant. And I remember thinking, wow, if I had built mentors and sponsors earlier, if I had been intentional sooner, I probably could have reached this level sooner. Now, in all honesty, there was some of me that didn't want to get to that particular level because I knew that that's where the divorces happened first. So instead, I stayed in the same role, received minimal raises, was given promotions within role, not because I wasn't capable, but because I wasn't positioned. Now, I want to say this, though, very clearly. The boss that I stayed loyal to, he was good to me. There was flexibility, support, guidance, opportunities, and trust. He promoted me when he could. So yes, there were trade-offs. But here's the part that I had to own. If the only people who can describe your impact are inside one pocket of the business, your opportunities shrink to whatever that pocket can offer. That's a visibility issue that he couldn't fix for me. So I also watched less capable people move forward because they had advocates. And that part can mess with your head because you're sitting there thinking, how did that happen? And the answer usually is someone was speaking their name when they weren't in the room. And it wasn't by accident. It was because that person had gotten confident in their elevator pitch. They had done the networking and they had built the relationships that would matter. Now, I want to make this simple for you because mentors help you think. Cheerleaders help you keep going. Sponsors help you get access. A sponsor is someone with influence who is willing to use it. They connect your results to opportunities. They are willing to say, put her on that project. Consider her for that role. She can do this. And here's the thing. A sponsor doesn't have to be your best friend. They have to trust your work and respect how you operate. Because here's the part that people confuse about sponsorship. You don't get to request it like you're ordering on Amazon for 2-hour delivery. It forms when someone has seen you operate repeatedly. They've seen your judgment, your follow through, how you handle pressure, how you communicate when things are unclear, and how you lead. Then and only then, they will decide it's safe to recommend you because they know exactly what happens when their name is attached to yours. And if you want that kind of advocacy, focus on 3 things: talk and outcomes, your direct impact. Deliver cleanly and to the point. Don't over-explain. Number 3, be easy to trust. Do what you say and say what you do. That right there is what turns respect into advocacy. Now, a lot of people are thinking they have sponsorship when really what they have is encouragement. And I want to be clear that encouragement is super valuable, but encouragement does not change outcomes. Advocacy changes outcomes. So the goal isn't to collect mentors. The goal is to build relationships where your impact becomes repeatable, not just visible. And that means that someone else can explain exactly what you do accurately. Now, I want to share a story about an early global project I was working on, and I laugh now thinking back on it. Because it was a new global implementation, there were a lot of moving pieces, and I needed process answers. I needed to know who won the decision, what the timeline was, and what the escalation path would be. They were simple, normal questions, but I didn't want to ask. I didn't want to ask because I want to look experienced. The person that I needed to email at the time, I believe he was a VP, and I just remember hovering over this message like it was a test that was life or death. I kept rewriting it 5 different ways. I was trying to make it sound like I already belonged, but the truth was I did. And then all of a sudden, that same boss that I mentioned earlier that supported me so graciously throughout my career said to me, Jessica, just ask the question. They don't know what you don't know. And so I sent it. I was still holding my breath, closed my eyes, and hit the send button. When I saw the response come through, my heart started racing. I thought, oh my gosh, what if he thinks I'm an idiot? What if my question wasn't clear enough? What if he's sitting there thinking, why in the heck do we have this girl on this project? I was panicking before I even opened up the email. And then I opened it. And I got the answer. It was clear, it was concise, it was exactly what I needed. And then I moved forward. But more importantly, I learned something that day. A lot of doors don't open because you're perfect. They open because you are present. And that is where my confidence changed. And so I want you to hear this. My confidence didn't come from one conversation. It came from repetition. I kept having the conversations until it felt normal. I started looking for common ground and bringing humanity into the room, not just business. And I also realized that these leaders, they're people, not titles. I respected the role, but I also learned how to connect with the person. This is one of the biggest mindset shifts that I made. I stopped treating senior leaders like they were a different species. I stopped over-editing myself like every sentence had to sound perfect, and I started showing up prepared, clear, and human. And if you're someone who rewrites a message 10 times before you send it, listen to this. Relationships are built over time. The consistency matters way more than perfect wording. And that's the shift. Now, I want to go through a quick mental exercise with you, and you can do this in your head while you're driving, wherever you're at. But what I want you to do is I want you to picture your workplace, industry, business, or whatever applies to you. And then ask yourself 3 questions. First, who actually sees my work? Not who likes me, but who sees the outcomes and can speak to the results. Second, who has influence? Who has a voice in promotions, key projects, introductions, panels, committees, or whatever next level looks like in your world? Third, who connects those 2 circles? Because the person who sees your work may not be the person who can change your opportunities. And it's your goal to build that bridge between results and influence. And you want to build it with clarity and consistent contact. Not constant, consistent. Now you might be sitting there thinking, Jessica, how do I do this? So let me make consistent contact feel doable for you. Once a month, send a 2-sentence update to the right person. We delivered X, it resulted in Y. Next month, we're focused on Z. That's it. It's clean, it's respectful, it keeps you on the radar without turning your life into a networking schedule. And here is why it works. Promotion conversations run on recall. People put up the version of you that they can remember quickly. Your job is to make sure that the remembered version is accurate and recent. If your stomach just tightened at the words consistent contact, totally get it, because this is where a lot of people freeze. So I want to make this even more simple for you. You don't need to be everywhere or seen by everyone. You just need to be in the right places at the right times. Now, I want to give you a way to help you build that bridge without feeling like you're having to sell yourself, because that can be scary for a lot of people too. I call it an impact brief. You want to be able to say in one breath what you do, results you drive, what you want next, and the type of opportunities that you're open to. This is what it sounds like. I lead work that improves W. Recently, I delivered X, and it resulted in Y. I'm aiming for opportunities that involve more Z. If something comes up in that area, I'd love to be considered. That's it. It's not a biography, not a pitch deck. It is a clear description someone else can repeat even when you're not in the room. Because the truth is that people can't advocate for what they can't describe. If you want your impact brief to travel further, anchor it in leadership outcomes, reduced risk, improved speed, protected revenue, increased adoption, improved customer experience. You get the point. That is the language that gets repeated, and it makes it easy for someone to advocate for you clearly. Because if you've been waiting for someone to magically understand everything you do without ever saying it, That is a gap that you can close. Again, say it clearly once and then keep showing up. Now, I want to zoom out for a second because advocacy isn't only a work thing, it also shows up in real life. I want to run through a few examples quickly because I want you to recognize yourself in at least one of them. These are composite examples because I'm not here to put anyone's private story on the mic. Sometimes I don't even like sharing my own. But let me go through these examples with you. Caregiving season. You are managing a demanding job and a family situation at the same time. You find out who offers real help and who offers commentary. If nobody's advocating for you, you are the one carrying logistics, decisions, and emotional weight all alone. A clean move is a specific ask. Can you handle this task this week? Yes or no? Maybe it's at home with a partnership. You are the one who's holding the reminders, the planning, the invisible checklist, and everyone else, it's not a big deal because you've got it handled. But then all of a sudden, you resent everyone. A clean move to prevent this is making ownership visible. Simply say, I can't manage this all by myself anymore. What do you want to own? Do you need something more clear? I need you to own X, Y, Z. Maybe you're in a career transition and you're interviewing quietly because you don't want everyone else's opinion. I'm here to tell you that silence, that can have a cost. If nobody knows what you're targeting, nobody can connect you to doors that you cannot see. A clean move is choosing 2 people and being specific. I'm targeting X roles. If you know of anyone in that area, would you please connect us? That's it. And one more thing, because support can sound good and still change nothing. So here's the question that I want you to think about this week. Am I getting support that changes my load or support that just acknowledges it? Because if it's only acknowledgement, then you are the one that has the leadership decision to make. You either ask more clearly or you stop expecting real help from people who only offer words. And if any of those hit just a little too close to home, it's not a sign that you need to be tougher. It is a sign you need support that shows up in real life, not just in kind words. And I want to give you proof that this doesn't have to be complicated. I had a quick coffee chat one time that turned into a referral. That referral opened a connection. It put me in rooms supporting more women in tech. It led me to attending the Women in Tech Summit conference twice. I met people I still stay connected with, including other business owners, and quite a few women that I have had on this podcast came from that chain of connection that started with one conversation about 2.5 years ago. That is what advocacy can look like. Not always formal. It doesn't always have to have an agenda. Sometimes it is the one person thinking of you at the exact right moment. But that can't happen if people don't know what you're building. So here's your clarity and action reset for the week. Pick one person, someone with influence, access, or proximity to the type of opportunities that you want. Then send them one message. Keep it simple. Hey, I'm being intentional about my next step. I'm focused on opportunities that involve X. If you hear of anything in that area, I'd love to be considered. One message this week. That's it. If you want a fast reset, download the Clarity in 10. If you're thinking, I need more help than that, if you want to talk through your situation, book a clarity call. We'll get clear on what you want, what's in the way, and how to position you for what's next. If this resonated with you, like it, share with someone else who needs to hear this message, subscribe so you never miss an episode. And until next time, stay fierce, stay bold, but most importantly, stay unapologetically you.